Like, I have the honor, I have the luck and the honor and the pleasure to do this and go around the world and see the world and get paid to do it. And so I just went to Istanbul. The book was translated in Turkish, both books. How cool is that? My mom loves it. It's amazing. And if you see the new book, right, you see if you haven't figured it out yet, there's two sides. Okay, there's two books, awesome and unawesome. Well, in Turkey, instead of doing the ladybug and the squished ladybug, I go there and I see this book I've never seen before. Because when they buy the translation rights, they buy the right to design whatever cover works for their culture and their people. And so when I go over there, in Turkey, the awesome side is like a green apple right in the middle of the book. That's it, just white space and a green apple. You flip it upside down, it's just like a rotten apple. Well, now I want that for my book over here. That was so, because it's really eye-drawing. I really like it. The ladybug is great, but it's really subtle and really hard to see from afar. I like the apple, so yeah. So I guess I'm just saying you got a crappy cover on your book here today. I'm sorry. And so if you don't want to see the kind of the origins of this book, when I wrote the first one, when we wrote on marketing, Stop Marketing, Start Engaging, the day it came out 2 years ago, was my publisher said, hey, do you want to write a second one? And I'm like, I don't know anything else. I know nothing. I made up 20% of the book. Like, I got nothing in my brain. But I said, give me a year. And businesses will be business, people will be people, and people will screw up. And I'll be right there. And they said, okay. And a year, and I had a running list in my phone as things came up in my brain, as they do once in a while. And as things happened, I made a list, and it came up to be 92 things. And that's the 92 sections in this book that came up. Now, 92 sections, they're like 2 pages apiece. So don't think like, whoa, this is like a thesis. This is just a big spaz on paper, right? Of random ideas with no order whatsoever, except one side is good stuff, one side is bad stuff. Which side do I like better? The unawesome side. Because it was more fun to write, and I got to get really angry. And the bio, the author picture on the angry side is so good. Like, it's got 2 bios, 2 photos, 2 starts, 2 ends. And like, if you look at the good side, it's like, hey, he's kind of posed and good. I love the picture. I use it for all my stuff. But the angry side, that's the true Scott. That's the authentic me. And that picture was not posed. It was not like I was, get angry and let's take a picture. That was me at a conference. That was me at People Report at summer camp in Dallas. My friend Lee took that picture, you can see. And that is me on stage. The shirt I'm wearing says I'm special, and it's a Mr. Rogers shirt, and which is ironic with what I'm yelling at. And it's a group of HR and marketing people, right? It's from the hospitality industry, great people that run that event. And they were sitting apart, HR and marketing, like literally sitting apart. And one of my whole big pet peeves is about how HR and marketing does not work together in organizations when they really need to. I think the most important part of marketing is hiring. Who you bring in to represent you is so much about you and your brand. And so I was screaming at them. And I know both sides. Marketing is what I do, and I went to school for HR. I taught HR at college. I was in HR. I got out of it because I realized I hated people. But up until that point, I was in it, and I did it for a while, for a few years. And that's a big thing. So you really notice, if you've read the first one as well, you'll notice this one has much more of a theme of people. Because like the title, it's about employees and customers. And I don't think you can treat your customers well and your employees bad. I don't think that's possible. That equation just doesn't add up. If you treat your employees well, your customers will be treated better. See that equation, right? If you treat your customers well, your employees have a better job. You know what I mean? So you see how this all works together? That I don't think you can have a great marketer and a bad HR person. Like, it's just not a good equation, right? You want to have better customer experiences, either hire better or treat your existing staff better, right? And sometimes we don't realize that. We think people are overhead. We think this, and it's all about selling, and the sales team gets treated great, marketers get a budget, and HR gets cut off. And I don't think that's a good equation. We think people in HR that love people. No, we're some of the most evil people there are out there. We're just angry at people. We hate them. So we'll see. So I realized I hated people. I really did. So I got into marketing, which made sense, right? Which, if you really hate people, you go to marketing. That's how it works, right? So I'm going to kind of go through some stuff for you guys that it comes up. Some of the stuff is in the book. Some of the stuff is newer. If you ever understand publishing, you realize you have to write the book 9 years before it comes out. Just how the timelines work. So if there's updates to it, you'll know. Still, my favorite stuff, like the first book, is the sarcastic footnotes are still in it on this one too. And just real angry. The good, like the smart chapters in this one, I didn't write. You'll notice the ones that have any length or sense to them, you'll see are guest kind of chapters. It's like 5 or 6, right? Like I want to know about data, I got Tom Webster to write about it, which is like 6 pages, which is like 4 pages longer than anything I could write. Jay Bayer wrote the one about Newt Gingrich and the fake Twitter followers he had. Because again, a lot of syllables, a lot of words, a lot of sentences, so that's not me, that's not my thing. So, but I found the fair people. When I read something on a blog and I said, I can't say this any better, I didn't. And some people said, you should just don't put guests, that's cheesy, that's weird. I'm like, that's my book, shut up. If somebody can say it better than I can, I want them to say it, because I want you to get the most out of it. So hopefully you get to see that stuff in the new book. So this is the best kid on the internet I've ever found. This isn't my kid. He wouldn't sign the model release, but this is my favorite kid. So what I want to get into here is about marketing as it's known and marketing as it should be, to me. On the left is marketing as it's known. Logo, right? The Ritz-Carlton logo. We know logos. We understand. People here who are in, I know a lot of you are in marketing, that we get logos. We get how important they are. And brand identity and all this branding and words that sound expensive, right? And they take a lot of time. Let's do these things. Let's go on a branding retreat. That scares me. That really just makes fear in my heart when I hear that. And on the right is what real branding is to me. So I'll tell you the story of the Ritz-Carlton and Joshy here. Joshy, as you can see, is a poorly stuffed giraffe. You probably can't tell he's a giraffe, but he is a giraffe. So, in the Ritz-Carlton, this is a story about Joshy being left at the Ritz-Carlton. So, a family went to the Ritz-Carlton, Amelia Island in Florida. I was just there, I spoke at an event there a month ago. Beautiful, beautiful place. And great people. I went on a field trip there to find somebody who doesn't like their job. Anywhere. You ever been to Disneyland or a really like a Ritz-Carlton place? Like, do you hate your job? No, love it. How are you, sir? Damn it. We're walking around trying to find somebody who hates it, just to see if anybody hates this place. So, and so the family, the father went to California to do an event, and the mom took the kids to Florida for a little vacation. And the 5-year-old left Joshy at the resort. Now, who here has a kid? Hands up if you have a kid that you know about. Hands up? Yeah? Okay. So I have a son, 11 years old, who's way too much like me. And we call him Unjunior. And or if you were a kid once, some of you were a kid once yourself, we all had something, yes? A security thing, right? It could have been Joshy. It could have been a teddy bear. If you're from my generation, Teddy Ruxpin, Cabbage Patch Kid, Gem. So what happens if your kid leaves that thing somewhere? A blankie, teddy bear, what happens, right? It's over, right? Life is over, right? They freak out, right? And all you want to do is find it or a reasonably hand-drawn facsimile of it just to get it back. It's like the goldfish dying, just get another freaking goldfish and let's move this thing on. It's like if you lost your phone today, right? What would it be like when you lose it? You ever panicked? You ever walked out of the house and for guys it's the pocket tap, for women sometimes it's the pocket or the bag check. Have you ever done that and you literally just stop? Oh God! Oh, there it is. We're good, right? Almost couldn't tweet for a half hour. We're good, right? And so it's. I talked to a group of parents once and I said, which would be worse, losing your phone at a mall or losing your kid? Think about it. The very fact that there was a pause in the audience tells me you have a debate in your brain of which would truly be worse. They would return the kid to security. They wouldn't return the phone, right? The kid would cry, the iPhone would go on silent, so would just whoop and take it and walk away, right? My phone went dead in Newark in the airport. I was going from one place to a connecting flight, and my phone just decided, I'm just not going to work anymore. Today's that day, Scott. It's like literally, it's not like the battery. It said fatal error, which I don't know much about phone. That's not good. A fatal anything is never rosy and happy. And I was there, and I was screwed. Have you ever had to stop working, or have you lost your phone? I'm in a connecting flight. I do not know where I'm going next. I don't know the venue when I land at wherever I'm going. I can't call my assistant because I don't know my office phone number. I would call home to my girlfriend. I don't know my home number. I only know my cell number, which has no use in the world now. I had to go to an internet cafe. Oh, come on. The game going, like, where am I going? Who are you? What are you? And I had to email my assistant saying, help me. And then I got it repaired. So yeah, I know how lost we are. Anyways, wow, it was a good sidetrack. So back to this classical marketing. Joshie was left at the Ritz-Carlton. And so when the father got home, the father did what any good father does for his child, and he lied to him and said that Joshie is on an extended vacation. You know how big that hole is you're digging right now when you do that, when you say that? So he says he's on extended vacation, then he calls the Ritz-Carlton and says, please tell me you found him. And they did, which I think is amazing enough on its own, that somebody would grab him and return him. And then he asked them to send it back. Now, if you have any hotel experience yourself, you know if you've left something there and you call them and they found it, what they would do was ask for your credit card, and they'd mail it back to you, and you get it back in like 6 to 8 months, you know, whenever it came back to you. Well, not only did they not charge him any money to send it back, and not only did they overnight it, they also sent pictures of his extended vacation for the kid. What are you, Joshie catching some rays by the pool? Joshie meeting some new friends at the bar. That dolphin is grossly inappropriate. He needs to be cut off right now. Joshie hitting the links, playing some golf. And since he had no money because he's a frickin' stuffed giraffe, he had to work his stay off for a week, so he worked in loss prevention. That's in monitoring the cameras. And since he worked for them, he needed to have an ID badge for the Ritz-Carlton as well. They took all this, the pictures, the ID badge, and Joshie, and overnighted it back to the kid with a letter. What word describes this to you? Awesome, right? What do you think the father did when he got this package? Other than change his pants, what did he do? He told everybody, yeah? He tweeted, Facebook, wrote about it, Morse coded it, whatever he had to do. And of course he blogged it. By the way, he has a blog on Huffington Post, which gets a few readers at a time, yes? Now, here's the difference though. They didn't know he blogged at Huffington Post. He wasn't even there, the father. And I truly believe this as an influencer, whatever that means. I truly believe that if you only are awesome to influencers, you're not actually an awesome brand. I think that awesome is a way of business. You are awesome because that's the right thing to do. Not because the person has clout or he has followers or she has a big readers of blog point. That's not awesome to me. Awesome's got to be a way of business, kind of a way of life. So he tells everybody and it goes around and everything else. That's what branding is to me. So when we see this, we think that's branding, when it's not. Because when I see this, I think the Joshie story, and some of you now will as well. Right? That's branding. Branding is not the logo. Branding is the story that the logo conjures up. I was just talking to a friend of mine. She's run an agency in Toronto for over 10 years. We kind of came up together in growing our companies. And she said to me today, she's like, I'm realizing that what I do doesn't necessarily matter as much as I think. That design doesn't matter as much as I've been saying it does necessarily. And I said hallelujah to it. And then, because she would have punched me for the past 10 years if I said that. When I realized that these don't matter as much, that the logo, for what I mean by they don't matter as much is the time and effort and money we spend on things like this does not equate the value to them sometimes. We need a logo, we need to look right, but at the end of the day, nobody cares. Nobody. Now, I'm not going to do a blanket statement and say nobody cares about any of your logos, but nobody cares about any of your logos. None. Now, it has to look right. It has to look great. It has to look, you know, the way it should. It's got to represent you professionally. But what I mean by nobody cares is that if this line was facing to the right instead of the left, nobody cares, right? Nobody has stayed at the Ritz-Carlton, said the bed was too hard, the room service was overpriced, and the check-in clerk was a jerk. But did you see their logo? It's exquisite. We're going to stay there next month again. The lion looks so regal. It's so good. Who out here has designed a logo before? or been on part of a team that has designed one, or any influence. You will not get that time in your life back. It's gone. Weeks, months. I imagine this logo took months of committees and factions. There was a right-facing lion committee, a left-facing lion committee, a tongue-out committee for the lion, a tongue-in committee for the lion. There was a sub-faction of font groups, of which they'd want a bold faction font, an italics, awkward group of people font. There was an underline group who hadn't got the memo, it's not the 80s anymore. There's all these people. There's like a Comic Sans dude in the corner by himself. There's all these people, right? And the effort and the arguments and the useless executives putting their 2 cents in who don't have a frickin' clue about design. You want to design a good logo? Let a designer design it. And have them come up and say, you know what, through all my experience and expertise and tears and effort I've done, let me do it. Don't give your 2 cents because you want to sound important, because at the end of the day, if the best logo is the one usually that the designer comes up with, not the one that you think is right, because you're not the designer, right? That's the huge difference. It doesn't, what a logo does to me is this. That's the logo to me, right? The logo simply, if you've experienced a brand, or somebody you know or trust has experienced a brand, all the logo does is bring up a memory, right? When I hear Ritz-Carlton or see a commercial, everything is just, Joshy, right? The story to me is that. And that's what we have to realize what marketing is. Marketing is experiences. Marketing is no longer how much and how big can I advertise to get people to come in and have a huge churn rate of customers. Marketing is now what stories are being told about that brand in social, in our circles, and wherever that is, because we have to realize that marketing isn't a task. It's not just somebody's role in a company anymore. That marketing is organic. Marketing changes. You don't define your brand. You do not tell me what your brand is. You don't really have a real truthful brand statement if you made it. Your brand statement is the statement your market makes about you. And it's different with every person. If you want to find out what your brand is, shoot an email to your customers. Shoot an email to your market. Tweet it. That's scary, but tweet it. And ask them, give us 3 words that describes us. I bet they're not the 3 words you paid somebody to come up with. I bet they're not what you came up with at the retreat somewhere. It's not going to be the same. It's those 3 words that you hopefully shift. We can try to influence brand. We can try to influence it with what we do and what we say. But it's our actions. It's a huge part about that. Our front lines influence our brand more than us marketers, right? The front line can really influence the day-to-day, face-to-face brand, but they're the least paid and least appreciated. That is a bad combination. And they're the worst hired, the worst kind of hires too. We hire them quickly, we throw them in the door, we throw them out the door quickly, which is a real bad move, because that front line is marketing. I want to give you an example of that is like Lush. You guys been to Lush before? You have Lush here at all? Okay, some guys are like, I've never been. What are you talking about? It's a soap store, right? As you can tell, I don't go, but I buy my soap by the skid, and when used. So I did an undercover operation just west of Toronto in a place called Mississauga. I did a mall kind of walkthrough undercover to see. It's like a mystery shopper, but my own thing. Nobody hired me to do it for my own research. And I went into 21 stores at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday. If you've ever worked retail, you know exactly what 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday is like, right? Nobody's there, which would make you think if nobody was there, you walk into the store and be like, hello, how can we help you? You're paying my salary, anything I can do, I am here for you. Right? It's like a Bryan Adams song or something. But really, when you walk in, what happens? Right? The people who are working there are kind of like this. What? If you need anything, I'll be disinterested. If it wasn't for customers, this job would be so much easier. I gotta tweet that, right? You gotta just do that. And that's the difference. And I had that experience at 21 stores. And then I walked into Lush. Holy monkey snot. I walked into Lush and the girl at the cash register was like, hi! Hello. First time here? Yeah. Let me give you a tour. And she walks around the thing like it's like it's the White House, right? Why? This is the best. This place is 9 square feet. It's barely above a kiosk, and she's touring like it's been handed down from generations of her family, right? And this is the bath bombs and the bath salts. Do you take baths? I'm like, I don't take baths. Well, this is a bath gel and soap by the pound. And I walked out with $79 worth of soap. Up to that point in my life, I had not spent a total of $79 on soap for myself in my life. That is the thing. Passion plus knowledge equals profit. That's what works for me. That's what works in business. That's a good tweet. Oh, wait. You tweeting that, Calvin? You got a big reach, man. You got to be tweeting that for me. Come on. Passion plus knowledge equals profit. Linked OC. Hashtag. Right, how that works. Is that the hashtag, by the way? Linked OC? I'm on marketing on Twitter, if you didn't know. Please throw it in there. My whole self-esteem is based on the tweets. If you can get a signal, then it works. Yeah. Well, I speak in tweets, so if I think it's good, I'll just pause, and you can go ahead and do it. I'll wink, so you know it's a good tweet. But that, for me, is passion plus knowledge equals profit. If you love what you do and you know what you're doing, it's contagious. Yes? That is service-based, that's B2C, that's B2B, that is person to person. That is huge. I used to do hiring. That's what I used to do in HR. I worked for Goodwill Toronto. And I used to hire retail. I used to work in their corporate office and hire in retail. And I would always put in a job ad for assistant manager, a full-time staff member, a senior, a key holder, whatever the hell we were calling them then, right? I used to always advertise 3 to 5 years experience necessary. You know why I asked for 3 to 5 years experience? I don't know why I asked for 3 to 5 years experience. That just sounded right. I don't want to know how many awesome people I turned away from the job, either myself by throwing the resume out, or they didn't even apply because I made that artificial qualification. And I really regret that. I really regret that. I do not know the difference between 2 years in retail and 5 years. I do not know. I do not even know the difference between a year experience in retail and 7 years experience in retail, except for the fact that the 7-year retail person hates people more than the 1-year retail person, right? There is more anger in the senior person. So maybe it should be the reverse. You have 3 days in retail? All right, you haven't stabbed anybody. Come on over here and I want to hire you. I would have hired on passion and personality. I can train cashier. I can train procedure. I can train policy. I can't train that. This is not a cheesy, I mean, really, but giving a damn about a customer walking in that door. I can't train that. You can't. And the problem with hiring, and I figured it out, why we don't hire like that, it's harder. It takes longer. A resume and a culling system, like culling a herd of resumes, is really easy. 3 to 5, nope, out. I looked at a pile, and it wasn't like, who's the best? It's like, who can I get rid of? Out of my system so I can have 10 left. That's how I used to hire, and that's wrong. I shouldn't have done it that way. We got to hire based, because those are our marketers. Those are our top people. There is ROI in being awesome in what you do. And when I wrote the book, the new one, I had a few people say to me, you shouldn't put awesome in the title because serious business people won't take it seriously. And I'm like, good. I don't want them to take it seriously. Like they're really fancy. I think the word awesome makes sense. That there's ROI in it. What I mean by that is, if I love what you're contagious to me, I will spend more. I will be more loyal to you personally, which means then to you, the brand. I'll give you an example. I live in hotels and on airplanes, and this is what I do, right? So it's a wonderfully lonely world, and I usually call for a wake-up call. You know, especially I do a lot of morning keynotes, so I can't sleep in. It's not like I can just reschedule it or something. So I always call for a wake-up call, and I have hundreds of wake-up calls the past few years, hundreds. And this has happened once. Okay, in Arizona, I called for a wake-up call, and at night, and I called for the next morning, and I picked up the phone, I called, and somebody answered the phone, which if you ever travel, you know, is kind of rare for a wake-up call. It's usually an automated system, right? You put in the time, and 1 for AM, 9 for PM. And you ever called somebody and not expected somebody to answer and you weren't ready for it? They're like, hello, you're like, oh, hi, can you hang up? I was hoping to leave a message. I have a canned message. I am not ready for interaction or answers, frankly. I just want to leave it, so I said I left it for you. So she's like, good evening, Mr. Stratten. Wake up call. I'm like, hello, yeah, 7:30, please. And her response was, ooh, that's really early. Would you like some coffee sent to your room? That is really early. I think I would like some coffee sent to my room. And then she says, do you want the coffee sent at 7:35? Because I know if I had to wake up at 7:30 in the morning, I would be a little grumpy and need a few minutes to get ready. I will be grumpy at 7:30. I think I will take the coffee at 7:35. She's like, anything else? I'm like, no. And she goes, I hope you have a great night and even better tomorrow. And I'm just like, thank you. I love you, wake up call lady. And then I wake up the next morning at 7:30 and the coffee comes at 7:35 and I have no problem paying $87 for the coffee. You want to know the ROI of being awesome? Having your customer have no problem paying $87 for overpriced room service coffee. I even gave the guy a tip that came in the room. Like, I know it's in the service fee. I know it's built in there, but here you go. That's your ROI. $79 worth of soap and $87 worth of coffee. It's contagious. Having people be happy to spend money with you, there is the key to business happiness. That I am happy to do it, and I am more than happy to do it just because this person made a suggestion. She paid her entire day's pay in a 45-second phone call. If I ran a hotel, I'd be on a coffee commission. I mean, like every time you sold a pot of coffee, you make commission. You'd make a mint doing these type of things because we know how much these things cost. The problem is, every hotel, minus that one so far in my life, and I've stayed in many, they view that position as overhead. Awesome is not overhead. People are not overhead. They are your company. They are your marketers. They are your branders. Without people, you don't exist. The problem is we think of headcount and overhead and the wake-up call. Let's just automate it. That never happens if they automate it. Well, social media, let's just automate it. Go ahead. If you know me, you know my position on this. And if you want the vein to come out of my forehead, give it a second. Right? Because you can. You can automate social. You can. Much against what I think, I actually don't make the rules in social media. And you can automate it. You can automate a wake-up call request. But you lose your opportunity to be awesome. Nobody ever thought automation was awesome. Ever in the history of human beings ever went, that was really nice of them. That automated thing they just did there. Real nice of them, right? And that's what happens with these type of brands. And I've gone to different Lushes looking for the experience again, and they're all like this. They're all nuts. In the most wonderful way. They all love what they do, so why can they do this and not somebody else? Like I give examples of like Body Shop and Lush and Zappos and working at Google. They're all like, oh, well, they're known to be awesome. What? Then why aren't you? What do they do differently? They don't pay more. They sell freaking soap. Like what? They're not selling chocolates and free chocolate for staff and everything else. They just sell soap. They don't even give a big discount to staff. What they do is they take time to find the right people. And then when you find the right type of person, that attracts the right type of person. That's what the key is. That's marketing to me. Because other than that, they're just a soap store, and I never would have gone in. And so I'm pretty happy with that. There's two types of customers we have, static and ecstatic. Static ones come and go. They jump because of price. They're the ones that when I used to run an agency, they'd ask for a quote and ask for 5 different quotes from 5 places, and just to be that way, right? Make you do all the work when you never had a chance in the first place. Static customers, I call them the Groupon crowd. They just jump for a nickel somewhere else, right? Whenever they have a chance. There's no loyalty. Ecstatic customers are the ones who are there, who stay, who refer. And the trick is, first, determining which you have. And no matter what, you've got both. It's just percentages, which you have more of. And then the trick is moving ecstatic to static. The problem is we're really good at moving static to out the door. We're really good at that. We're also really good at moving ecstatic down to static. You know when this really happens? Right at the beginning. You spend all of your time and energy to find a new customer, a new client. And then when you get them, they just kind of go, whoa, and they go to static because you're on to the next one. I just quoted Jay-Z. You're on to the next one. You're on to the next place, right? And so now it's like dating. It really is. It's like dating. It's like the honeymoon period with the client, and then you're like, oh, what do you want? Right? In the email, you're like, oh, it's the client who's paying me money to do things. What? Why are you talking? Right? And the start is like, I love you, this is gonna be great, I love you too. And then like 6 months, it's like, I hate you, I really hate you. I do, I'm gonna kill you in your sleep. And this is how it works. And that's the problem. We need to remarry our customers. Because the happy customers refer. Mediocre, just feeling okay about it, do not. Referrals come from happy customers. We need to remarry. We need to get back together our customers, not like being married for 47 years and hating each other for the last 46. We need to sleep with our, we don't need to sleep with them. We need to scratch that part. Back it up a bit. Just one step behind that, right? But we do, because we take them for granted. You want to find out which type you have most of? Ask them, okay? Email them, if you know them, if it's a different type of business where you really know the person, ask them 3 words, 3. Stop, start, continue. Just ask them, what should we stop doing, what should we start doing, what should we continue doing to make sure that we are your provider of whatever it is you provide for the rest of eternity. And then let them answer. Now, usually give them an online survey to do it for, that they're allowed to be anonymous, because that's where they can get some really honest answers. Allow them to have an optional field to say who they are in email if they want something resolved that they brought up, and then give them a reason to answer it, okay? And it's not enough to say, we want to get better. You ever go to a website and a pop-up comes up and goes, fill out the survey about our site? Like, why? I don't care that you want to fix your site. It's not mine. So give them give something away, raffle something off, whatever it is, give them incentive, and then take the information and use it. And go with it and run with it and analyze it and see what works. And then make them know that you're using it. Because when you're listening, that's a huge, huge part. And that's where we can shift people. The time to find out why a customer left is not when they left. Same with an employee. The time to find out they're leaving is not an exit interview. I refused to run exit interviews when I was in HR. I thought it was stupid. You know what we did? It was performance reviews reversed. How are we doing for you? You're the employee, right? You're the one, we're paying you. How are we doing? Right? It was like that 360 weird thing, but not weird. Like it was literally like, you tell us what we need to do. We'll tell you as well, because it goes both ways. But not an exit interview. Because we used to get the best answers in the exit interviews. Because you got nothing to lose, right? Let me tell you, it's like when you're breaking up. I'll tell you what you're doing wrong. How much time do you have? Right? Everybody's got a bitter taste in their mouth. That's a bad time to analyze how we can fix something, right? So do it in the middle, like the mediocre time. That's the best time to do it, not at the end, because that gets ugly really quick. Another thing I get to talk about a lot is tech and how it affects us in social and in business. And I have a huge issue with a lot of tech as being, I'm a huge tech guy, I'm a huge geek in both software and hardware stuff, and I love it. And I hate what we're doing with it. I really do. I think that we're using tech because we can, not because we should. We're doing it because we want to make ourselves look important, and that we're not, actually. Especially in marketing, we're really guilty of this in marketing. And here's an example. Here's a QR code. One of the biggest definition of how we're wasting ourselves is QR codes. Not QR codes themselves, but how we're using them. This is a QR code of Oreo cookies. Don't scan it. Focus right here. Here. Come with me. Right here. Don't scan it. It works if you want to scan it, but if you don't know what a QR code is in this audience, you download an app on your phone, you scan it with your camera, and the app then will take you to a website, wherever the code tells you to go. It should be very simple. I just explained entirely what QR codes do, and we managed to screw that up. Calvin, I told you not to scan. I told you not to. We managed to screw that up. As marketers, we are screwing these up hard. Hard. I have seen QR codes, okay, on the billboards on the side of freeways. While going 65 miles an hour, and it's on a billboard 500 feet or 4.5 miles away from me. Or this. 5 miles up in the sky. Wait, come back here so I can scan your unworking code. Right? I have trouble scanning QR codes right here in front of me. It takes me like 3 minutes of focusing and zooming and what am I gonna do here? This was over Toronto, over this Canadian National Exhibition. I run down the lake to try to get this photo. One of you approved this, okay? I don't know who. I'm going to find out who approved this campaign. I saw talking about on billboards in Ottawa, in the capital of Canada, in Ottawa. I saw a billboard that says, "Don't text and drive." And it had a QR code on it. It was put out by our federal police, the RCMP. Like, that's entrapment. Yeah, I won't text and drive either. Oh, I see what you did there. All right, good. Understand, this also brings in a legal implication if you do this. If you have a billboard with a QR code and somebody gets into an accident scanning it, right? There's actually a legal precedent here. It's not a big concern in Canada, but in the States, you guys sue everybody for everything. So you need to be very, very careful on what you do with your advertising. If it's distracting, it can lead to a lawsuit. Just because you haven't heard of any right now, it's because it's so new. Like, we just invented QR codes. We just invented the technology and we're screwing it up already. Like, we just did it. It's like we can't have nice things anymore because we're screwing it up. I love the thought of QR codes, the thought of QR codes, not the actual usage. I have seen QR codes in subways, so underground trains in Toronto, right? Where QR code campaign in there. I'm underground. I have no signal to scan the code. Last year, a QR code campaign on the subway in Toronto won an advertising award for best campaign. It didn't work. I couldn't scan it, but it won. Stop it. You just found out what the title of the third book will be. Stop it. You need to stop doing this. You need to stop doing these things. I've seen QR codes in magazines, on airline magazines. I'm in the sky. The only time people read those magazines are on takeoff and landing when you're told to put your crap away and no more digital. I have no signal during that time. I'm not even allowed to take my phone out. I had an agency guy in an audience go, "Well, Scott, people can take those magazines home with them. Only very lonely people take airline magazines home." If that's your market, all right. It doesn't work. I've seen QR codes in emails. No? Haven't figured out what I mean by that? Okay, watch. I'm gonna need the mic stand for this. I'm gonna do a little visual for you. Ready? Okay, I feel like I'm gonna stand up now. Ready? Okay. The email comes here. The camera scans the QR code, is back here. Unless I'm some sort of Jedi, I can't scan it. Now, some people say, well, email goes to your computer too. Then I'm already on the computer. Give me a freaking link to click. I've seen QR codes on websites. Stop it. I scanned one last week just to humor myself. I scanned it. You know where it took me? To the website. Which wasn't mobile friendly, by the way. Every time somebody scans a QR code and it goes to a non-mobile friendly site, a kitten dies. It's just science. It's on you. All kidding aside, every time somebody scans a QR code and it doesn't work, they are less likely to scan the next one. Does that make sense? We are ruining the technology as it's come out. We are hurting ourselves by not, because the adoption rate is so low right now that only those front people, those early adopters as we call them, are doing it and going, this is stupid. If we lose them, we have no hope with my mom. Okay? We have no hope with the late bloomers that jump onto this thing. My mom still doesn't use QR codes, but she does text. She signs her text, Mom. Think about it. I'm like, Ma, you don't have to sign your text. It says Mom when you text me. It's like, I'm your mother. I can do what I want. Yes, you can. You're right. So fine. I've seen QR codes on bananas. Bananas. Like a Chiquita banana. You see the little oval sticker on bananas? The entire sticker, the entire banana real estate was a QR code. It said in a semicircle words, scan for smoothie recipe. And I scanned it. Stupidly enough, I scanned it. And a video of the recipe pops up and says, sorry, not playable on a mobile device. Yeah, the only thing that scans a QR code is a mobile device. Nobody's taking their desktop and lifting it upside down and scanning your recipe. Stop it. Stop. I love them. We're killing it. I love the technology. I really do. I think it's brilliant. I think there's so many great applications. When I went to buy fireworks for Canada Day, it's like Independence Day, just less drunk. And we go to buy the kaboom, all the fireworks and everything else, and each fireworks box had a QR code on it. I'm like, what is going on? And I scan it, and it takes me to a YouTube video, perfect, immediately plays and shows me how the firework explodes. I'm like, I just scanning them all. My son's like, I like that one. I'm like, it used once. Out of 1,642 times I've scanned one was smart, and it worked. And I think the problem with QR codes is the adoption rate level. Until QR codes are natively ability to be scanned in cameras without an extra app, like if it's in the field of vision of your camera, and you pull it up and automatically says, we've noticed a QR code, would you like to scan it? Until we're getting to that point, we're not going to have the adoption levels we need. And we're hurting them. We're ruining these things. It's killing us. It's killing me deeply inside because we're doing them because we can and not because we should. Right? We're doing these things. When I was in Vegas, I was there yesterday morning. I was there for a few days, and I was in a cab. And the back of the cab, all the cabs in Vegas, especially in New York and everywhere else, they have TVs, okay, like videos, and it's a circle videos. It's on a big loop. And when you get in the cab, when they start the fair, the video starts. And I was there, and it's Steve Wynn on the video, and he's like, "And welcome to Vegas, and I'm going to take your money, and we have a new restaurant at the Encore, and a QR code pops up. I'm like, Steve Wynn, you smart son of a, this well done. And it comes up, and he's like, just swipe your phone over this QR code. Steve Wynn, you moron. What does that even mean? And I took my phone out. Nothing's happening here. What kind of evil genius is this guy? But I took it out. So I took my phone out because I saw the QR code. I'm like, nice. Maybe it'll bring us to like an open table reservation thing or something like very cool. And as I pull the phone out, the QR code is gone. It's on to the next thing, whatever the next section is. It was on the screen for 1.4 seconds or so. Unless I go around cabs in Vegas like this the entire time with a QR code ready to go, I'm not going to scan it. It's an example of using something when they think they can to make it look good, but no ability to scan it. I'm sure it's been scanned twice in its lifetime because we have no time. We can't do it. we see these QR codes. We see ones like this. Stop doing this, which is on the back of a bus in Atlanta that says, scan here to view emergency room wait times and hold your place in the ER because you just rear-ended a bus. Stop it. Stop doing this. I had a guy in an agency, in an audience, I don't know where I find them, in an agency in the audience, put up his hands, like the guy, he knows, he's like, puts up his hand, I'm like, yes, there, cowboy. He's like, that's not for people driving. That's for people walking. Who's walking behind a bus? And if you are in traffic, your biggest concern is not the wait time at the ER. I'm sure they'll fast track you in, no matter what is going on at this point. It's hurting your market. Look how much of this ad is taken up by the code. I've seen an entire back of trucks, one giant QR code. It's a scan to tell us how my driving is. I'm gonna rear end you. Like, what are you? Oh, you're killing me. Stop it. Stop it. Now on to my favorite topic of social and social media. There's a lot of social stuff in the book. It's like the first one. But one of the things about social that people don't realize is, like, there's a social media book, and I actually addressed this at the start of it, is that, well, almost every book now becomes a social book because it's how we're using to communicate a lot of the times. We share business experiences, we ask business questions stuff through social. So it's like asking somebody like 10 years ago, oh, is your book about phones? Is your book about talking? Is your book about social? Is how we express ourselves. A lot of things in business, a lot of these stories are not what the occurrence was, but how it spreads. And social, and Facebook especially, is the biggest way we spread experiences and content. So yeah, the book is about social, but the book is about, you want to be better on Twitter, then you got to be better as a company. When I was in Istanbul and I did an event there, a woman put up her hand at the end and asked questions. She's like, hey, thanks Scott for doing this. We get a lot of complaints on Twitter about our product. How do we fix that? Make a better product. And she's like, okay, yeah, okay, but how do we reduce the complaints on Twitter? Make a better product. But how about Twitter? Shh. Make a better product, right? Twitter, Facebook, social is simply an amplifier of what's going on, and not always an accurate one. Okay, you'll see Tom Webster's chat, who I love Tom to death. He's a Webby 2001 on Twitter. Tell him I say what's up. He's from Edison Research, and he was the one for all. You had some kind of like election or something here recently. I don't know, some little thing that was happening. I don't know, it was like a state something or your whole country. He was the one. He's with Edison, so it's polling data. He led the team that gave you all of your data for all the voting, all the polling, all the exit polling. He runs the team, and he has a great, which I stole and put into my book, great chapter about how Twitter sentiment in a lot of elections have nothing to do with the result. That the loudest people or the majority is actually not how people voted. So it's a big indication. So if you run a company or you're part of a company or you're listening to social, just because some people are saying it doesn't mean it's the reflection of everybody. Right? I would call it all caps, right? Versus I would call it the silent majority. Those are the ones you need to ask. Not always the all capper on Twitter who's shouting at you. You got to figure, is this isolated or is this everybody? And that's really but there's a lot of, we just react. We react on Twitter, react on Facebook. I don't think everybody should be on social. I really don't. I don't think all companies should be on social. I think there's truly companies who don't want to know what people are saying because they don't care. And that's just the reality of it. I think it's okay. That's how it is. I think that not everybody themselves should be in social. I think if you have no time, you shouldn't be on social media. I think if you have 2 minutes a week to be on Twitter, don't use it. Like it's like walking into a networking event and saying, how's it going, everybody? I gotta go. And walking out the door. You're networking, you're just not doing anything, right? It doesn't make any sense. You don't have to use it. Who said you did? I didn't say it in the first book. I didn't say you had to. And the problem is with people in my circles that we're telling you that you need to, that you have to, and you don't. If you can. I think there's some great attributes to it, But we're using this fear thing, we're using this pressure thing, we're making people feel stupid, and that's not right. We're saying you gotta be everywhere. You gotta be on every platform everywhere at once, and I don't think that's true either. I think social is about being great on where you are than trying to be okay everywhere. If you have a half hour a day, 4 days a week to be using social to engage with your marketplace, then I'd rather you be on one platform that half hour than 5 of them for 7 minutes apiece or 6 minutes apiece, right? You see the difference? Don't be everywhere. When Google Plus came out, people lost their goddamn mind. It came to me and says, why aren't you there? I was told I have to be. If you tell me I have to do something, I am 7 years old. Well, now I'm not doing it. The better way would have been, do not go on Google Plus. I am your mother. I'm going to go on Google Plus and do it. And Google Plus was for me, a big microcosm of what the problem with social is. I'm on Google Plus. I have 10,000 people that circled me. I don't even know what the hell that means, right? I don't know. And friends of mine have written books about Google Plus, and it's all good for them. I just think Google Plus is full of crap. I don't see the point of Google Plus. I really, 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 really don't. Maybe you like it. Maybe you get something out of it. Congratulations, keep using it. I should not be your case study. Please. Because the only case study that matters in this world to me is the one you've done for yourself. That's where the case study matters. That's how the data matters. And data is very dangerous. Because we see a headline, I call it headline data. There's a section in the book called Data is Dangerous, called headline data, which we just grab the headline and say, we need to do that then because we see the headline. Pinterest had some big headlines about it. Driving more referral traffic than Facebook and Google and Jesus and everybody. You gotta go and pin all the things, and we run around and do it. Google Plus to me was, and again, this is my own experience though, that Google Plus is the big lie. To me, I find no use of the place. I built the platform on it. I've spent a lot of time on there. I find no use. It's the same people on one platform or another. They're liking my status on Facebook and then they're plus 1 on Google. And it's really awkward. And Google has actually lied to you about Google Plus. That they came out and said in the summer, they said out of their 100 million members or whatever the hell they're claiming, 60% of them log in every day. And 80% of members log in every week, which is very impressive, by the way. For anything. Like going home 80% of the week is very impressive, right? Let alone logging onto a website that's new, right? And people say, well, it has to work. It's Google. I'm like, really? Let's go chat with that on Google Wave and tell me what you think. For the geeks in the room, you get the joke. But they lied. They actually lie. And the only words I want you to walk out of here with is 2 words, is dig deeper. Dig deeper on the stats. And I dug deeper on the Google Plus stats because I didn't believe them. And what the stat is actually is not 60% of people logging in daily on Google Plus and 80% weekly. What the stat is they consider Google Plus a layer now. It's not a social site, Scott. It's a layer. I'm like, do you even smell the bullshit when you're digging it out of there? Or are you just so immune to it you just don't even know it's there? You've worked in manure all your life. You don't even smell it. It's a layer. And what they mean by that is all the Google services are all just layered together. So when you log in to Gmail, that counts as a Google Plus login. When you use one of Google's services, like, I don't know, Google. That counts as a login. Maps, Docs, or Drive now, I guess. When you go and watch a video on that upstart YouTube, it counts as a login to Google+. How many people here log in once a day to Google+? Hands up. There's 11 of you. We are at Linked OC. We're at people who are at tech, and 11 of you go. I was at Social Media Club in San Diego last night. Social Media Club. 7 of those people logged in every day. How many people here check their email every day? Hands up. You want to know the best tool for marketing? You just witness the hands going up. Social is great for talking. That's what social media truly is talking. If we didn't call it that, we couldn't call ourselves talking consultants, right? It would be awkward, right? We had to call ourselves something else. Many of us were doing social media before we called it that. We just called it talking. Forums, chat rooms, right? We just did it in like IRC. We were just uber geeks. In ICQ, we just at each other, right? That's how it worked. We didn't call it social media, right? It was just much nicer back then because people who wanted to be there were there, people who didn't. That's what people are talking about. The biggest difference between Twitter 3 years ago and now is that people 3 years ago, we were there because we wanted to be. We were there to talk to other people. And now it's mandatory engagement, and it's not cool. I don't like it. I really don't. It's just listening to celebrities tweet, or their PR handler tweet, or it's businesses just streaming crap in there. We were there 3 years ago, hanging out because we wanted to connect. We knew the value of connection. And that's the problem, is we don't realize that we don't realize that. And this is my ratio. I actually talked about this 2 years ago at this event. My ratio is still 75% replies on Twitter. I've tweeted now over 92,000 times. I have over 135,000 followers, right? So I don't actually, in theory, if you look at the strategy, I don't need to, quote, need to reply all the time because I'm that guy on Twitter. I still, this exact ratio I had when I have tweeted 800 times. 75% of my tweets are replies. Twitter is a conversation, not a dictation. It's the only line I'm going to repeat from 2 years ago, because it's very, very true. You connect with people, right? You connect with them in social. That's why we are in social, right? People ask me, how do we do Pinterest for business? You stay the hell off Pinterest. And you let people use it, right? Pinterest is successful because of passion, not profit. Make your pictures pinnable on your site and leave it alone. You're creepy. Stop it. It's like a networking event and you hear something about your product, you jump over there. Hello! Just let me talk. Let me do it. And that's the amazing thing. People don't realize that side of it. But we have to realize it because talking is in real time. Because what I mean by that is not like we're talking, we get it, is that business conversations are in real time. It used to be back in the day, 3 years ago, we used to be able to email a company and they had time to reply. They had days to reply. You could talk to your boss, see whatever. Now you have minutes. The expectation of resolution has shrunk in the past 5 years to next to nothing. If you tweet a brand, an active brand on Twitter, how fast do you expect a reply? Literally, almost immediately, right? When you send an email or a phone call to a place 5 years ago, you're like, hopefully sometime in the next year, they'll get back to me. And now it's same day. If they don't, you're like, well, do they know who I think I am? Like, they should be replying to me. I will tell Scott. I will tell on marketing, and he will tweet as well, and then we'll just have a tweet geek-a-lanch, and everybody will get angry. Here's an example of doing it right, okay? Here's a tweet that I sent out. It says, if anyone has a contact at Kudu Mobile, please message me. My little brother said nothing but problems and no resolution. Kudu Mobile is a cell phone company in Canada. Okay, so my brother got a hold of me and said, my family really only talks to me when they want me to leverage my position on Twitter or something. He's like, can you go on Tweezer and tell them that my phone isn't working? Because I know you got a lot of people on there. If it doesn't work, can you try Bookface? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So I tweet this. Kudu, this is a year ago. Kudu has still not replied. Okay? But Virgin Mobile, 4 minutes after I tweeted this, replies, your little bros have switched to Virgin Mobile. Just saying. How can I not go with them now? Can you guess whose phone my brother is with now? Virgin Mobile Canada. Right? And I have put now through 5 phones within my immediate family through these guys. This is worth $4,000 to these guys per year. Right? How much it's worth to them, and these guys are what they're paying. Yes?
How many people have seen that slide?
How many people have seen that slide? Thousands and thousands. It's in the book. So readers and thousands. So you tell me what's awesome worth. It's awesome having ROI. Yes, immediate ROI. But here's the difference, though. This isn't because of Virgin Mobile. This is because of Tally, the girl who was doing this account, because she saw it and reacted and said this. And then I got to know her through DMs and through emails. She's like, let me know your little brother's information. My little brother, he's 22, by the way. My little brother's information, we'll get to know it. And people are like, oh, they just hooked you up because you're an influencer. People get so bitter. It's awesome. So it happens. I get this just angry at you, right? Because they're bitter because they haven't built it up yet. They didn't give me anything. They gave him free voicemail. Who cares about voicemail? He's 22. Do you know a 22, 21-year-old? Maybe you here. How often do you leave voicemails for each other? You don't. It's like giving me free fax service with my... It was really nice of you, but I don't use it. It's not going to happen. So they threw him a freebie and he pays, and he's been paying. That's the difference. And that's the difference. There's a flip side of this. A friend of mine, Jessica, great friend, she's awesome, tweets, note that even after T-Mobile service doesn't work for you after you purchase it, they will not waive the early termination fee. You know, the ETF, you ever had to get out of a phone contract, it's like $8 million. Right? Like my phone, I'm on like a 93-year contract. But hey, free phone, so why wouldn't you do it? How would you handle this if you were doing doing Twitter for the brand? You'd say something like, please drop us a line personally, probably give us your account number. We need to help you, of course. Noting that, she's gone all caps thrice in the tweet, okay? 3 times she's gone all caps, which has set off your alarm bells. Handle with care, okay? There's 2 groups of people you do not want to piss off in this world, geeks and moms. And if they are a geek mom, look out! Run and hide. Run and hide. But they will find you anyways. They are powerful. So how would you handle it? This is how T-Mobile handled it and said, we're sorry it didn't work for you. Not to sound rude, but after buyer's remorse, you're under contract. And that's settled. Next tweet. Let's keep going. If you are going to write a tweet, reply to a customer, or anything for that matter, in person or email or anything, and you're about to start it with not to sound rude, or nothing personal, or don't get mad, but don't say it. Don't do it. So obviously Jessica sees this reply and just goes, oh, okay, well, I understand. Or did she write a blog post about it and get tens of thousands of people to talk about it? I was looking for a phone in the States to have in this. I'm here so much that I live in Canada and the roaming is ridiculous when you come here. So I was looking for a phone in the States. I now specifically avoid T-Mobile because of this. This happens to a friend of mine who I trust. That is branding. That is more than any motorcycle across the country campaign they could possibly do, and fancy girls in pink dresses talking about phones. This is why I will not go with them. One person, one tweet. You think it has an ROI or an un-ROI because of this? You bet it does, and that's the difference. Understanding about viral, I don't want to run over too much time, but viral, my favorite chapter in the book is this one. Okay, I call it Third Circle. This explains why things go viral, why they don't, and how they go viral through social. I'll give you an example. This is you, okay? This is you. This is your content. This is you as a brand or person, and you share your content. People are always asking me, how do we make this viral? We used to do viral videos of my company, and how do we make something go viral? Well, the answer is you don't. You don't make something go viral, by the way. It's people decide whether it's good or not. So you share your content and it reaches your first circle, okay? It goes out there and reaches your first circle. This is your friends, your fans, your followers, your customers, your subscribers, all those people. There is no challenge in getting these people to see your stuff. Your video, blog post, tweet, picture, new product, whatever it is. It's a certain percentage will get it. But the question is how much more you want to get. To get these people even to share your stuff isn't hard, right? They usually share your content. When they share it, it goes to their first circle, which is your second circle. Getting them to share your content isn't hard, but it's usually conditional sharing. They will share it because they like you. They're a fan of your brand. If you like me and I tweeted a picture of a cat, you'd be like, hey, retweet. I'm marketing something. No, it doesn't even matter. You might even retweet a blog post of mine because you know it's going to be good and you haven't read it. I will retweet a post by like Jay Bayer, a buddy of mine, who wrote Now Revolution, where he will write something and I will retweet his blog post before I've seen it. You shouldn't do that. But I'll do that because I know it's good. See, so that's conditional. That's biased based on me. You might share or like content on Facebook or something from your employer because you want to kiss their ass. Right? Truly, that's a real reason. You ever had somebody like something too quickly? Really too quickly? Like you just post it, they're like, I like soup. Jeff likes this. Easy, Jeff. Easy. Slow down. I'm not loaning you the money. Okay, I'm not going to give you the $50 you wanted, right? They may share something because they find you attractive. That's a legitimate psychological reason people will do something and pay for something, right? So that's conditional. But when it reaches the second circle, they have no condition with you. They have no brand umbilical cord. They don't work for you necessarily. They might not even know who you are. So this is like a blog post getting to you from me and you've never heard of me. Okay? You will now read the post because a trusted friend sent it, but now you are judging it strictly based on content, usually, for the most part. and you're reading it. And now if you like it and share it, it goes to the third circle. And now you've truly, truly gone viral. Because it's now being shared based on the content alone. That's the trick. You've got to make the content good enough to share it. It is not about falsely getting likes on Facebook, so you get a lot of likes. That doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't get shared anywhere. It's not about paying for stories to appear in the news feed on Facebook. I've done tests. We were talking about this before. I spent over $1,000 already just doing different sponsored stories and seeing how it all works. And the ones that carry the most are the ones with the great content. Because the paid will only get exposed to people who you've paid to get it to. And when the money stops, it stops getting exposed. My most popular posts on my marketing Facebook page are the ones that are really good content. And they'll just keep going. They'll just keep going because of the content, not because of your wallet. That's a huge difference between those two things. As an example, here's a watermelon. Nobody gives a rat's ass about a watermelon. Even if I shared it, it's a high-res picture of a watermelon, bro. That's a sweet-looking watermelon. But if I share a watermelon carved into a turtle, into a fruit bowl on Pinterest, that goes nuts. That's 1,100 repins. Who here is on Pinterest, by the way? Hands up. How good is that place? How great is that? Yeah, it's like 97% women and me. Like, it's a bunch of pictures of like shoes and recipes and Ryan Gosling with no shirt on. And Ryan Gosling with no shirt, wearing shoes, making recipes. So it's pretty, it's pretty sweet. This is a dog. This is not my dog, but I have a dog. His name is Kirby, and you couldn't care less about my dog, right? You really couldn't care less about my dog. Like I couldn't care less about yours. Unless I know you, I don't care. It's like a baby picture of your baby. Don't care about your baby. All look pretty much the same. Unless I know you, then I love the baby picture, right? That's the huge difference. So nobody cares about this dog. This is a second circle dog, okay? Third circle is a dog getting hit in the coin purse with a tennis ball. So class, we got that, yes? Second circle, third circle. Second circle, third circle. Here's the problem though with data. This has been viewed over 5 million times, right? Because it's awesome, right? So the data says if we want our corporate pictures to go viral, we got to hit animals in the nuts. That's dangerous data. I don't want you sitting around boardrooms with like tennis ball launchers. Hold them! Just get the camera ready, right? Just because it goes viral might not be the right reason. So we have to understand that because things get spread. Things get spread around. There he is. He's okay. Who wants to go for a car ride? He's such a cute guy. I love him. So we got to realize that we spread things that are great. If the person beside you is not laughing, can you explain it? I don't want to. So it's the Wisconsin Tourism Federation. It's got through like 12 layers of approval, by the way. Like nobody's been on the internet before. None of these people have ever done text talk or anything, right? Never. And it gets through. You're like, you know what? I have a lot of great friends in Wisconsin. I was just there. I was just in Madison. I love Wisconsin. This explains the people of Wisconsin perfectly. This is just them. And they changed it to this after they realized what they did. And I saw it. I'm like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? I would have driven to Wisconsin just to take a photo with the first one, right? I'm not going there because they put it the second one. It's boring. Right? The first one's the best one because we share crazy stuff. We share all this stuff that's going around because as consumers, we've been beaten down so long, we've had no recourse, right? We want to share these things, so when things happen, we get angry, so we share them. This is actually from around here, too. All right, who do you feel bad for, the customer or the server that has to clean this up? And if you feel bad for the server, you need to understand something. This customer had the time and the privacy to go all caps ketchup on a table. Yes? If you got time for all caps condiments, that's your fault as a business. And then the time and the perseverance to underline in mustard. You deserve this, okay? Over 4 million views. Why? Because it's awesome. That's why. That's how I got that many views. Example of a receipt from a restaurant. I'm not pregnant, but thanks for the eating for two comment. All right, gentlemen in the room, can you listen to me very carefully? Never assume she is pregnant unless she tells you or you can see the head. Do not assume she's pregnant. That may have been inappropriate. Never, ever. This got viewed over 5 million times, and she was sitting at the table and took the picture and put it on Reddit, and off it went. And that was it, right? And the geeks got a hold of it, and that was all she wrote. Here's a receipt from Papa John's Pizza from Broadway in New York. I've been to this location. This girl tweets out, "Hey, Papa John's, just FYI, my name isn't Lady Chinky Eyes." Right there. Okay? So, what happened here was, if you ever worked at a counter-based food service thing, they might write your name or how you really, they describe you on the chit for the receipt, so you can hand the food to them. You know, blue jacket, green hat, racist name, whatever works. Whatever gets the food going faster, let's do it. She actually was given the store copy of the receipt, so that's how she saw this. Oops. And then she tweets it, and she sends it out. This is the tweet. This is the actual tweet. This is a screenshot from it. And she tweets it, and it went to her 30 followers. So nobody cares, right? Who cares about a 30-follower person tweeting it? Except one of her followers also follows me and tweets to me and says, "Hey, Scott, what do you think about this?" And I'm like, oh, giddy up. I send it out into the Twitterverse, and it went geekalanche. It went epic. And their Facebook page turned into a poster board for racist receipts, and it went nuts. It was so good. You know what their response was that day? Nothing. Because it was a Saturday. Everybody's off for the weekend in corporate, right? Nobody home. Outrage does not take a weekend off. That's a huge point. That's a good tweet, too, by the way. Outrage doesn't take a weekend off. It doesn't. Plus, if it's geeks, we have more time on the weekend. Right? We're not at work. We got time to spread these things, right? So that's the amazing part about it. Here's an example of a tweet during the presidential debates. Obama's grandma even knew it was going to be bad. She died 3 days before he became president. And then you have the hashtag NBC Politics from the live debate. So this went on the main feed. This is a horrible tweet. Okay, I don't know much about politics. I know even less about American politics, being, the Canadian I am. I just know whoever wrote this is a bad person. I do not care what side of the political fence you're on. This is a bad person. And then you see who tweeted it. So what happened here is one of the guys that tweets for KitchenAid USA forgot to switch the account on his phone to his personal account versus KitchenAid, and then went and tweeted this. Oopsie. My bad. Sorry about that. And it went with the hashtag, and so it went into the conversation about the whole debate and live on TV. So what would you do now? Like, other than literally changing your pants, what would you do if you ran this account? The woman who ran the account was very fast. She deleted this in 4 minutes, but then it's 4 minutes too late. Because people like me are taking screenshots. I need material. I got a third book I gotta write. I need material. So she tweets in 4 minutes, though, and says, "Deepest apologies for an irresponsible tweet that is no way a representation of the brand's opinion." Same hashtag. So here's the key here. If it ever hits the fan for you and your brand, okay, it's not time to hide behind the fan. You need to respond quickly. PR does not stand for public relations anymore. PR stands for people react. You need to be fast. And what the quickness of this and the deletion and the apology made it catch the viral. That makes sense? As it spread, the apology went with it. You've got to catch it before it hits third circle. Because how things are spread now is social to blogs to bigger blogs to mainstream news. That's now how it flows. Okay? And CNN, they're all looking back saying, what just happened? Okay, we'll grab it. And they go with it. This hit before it hit the main blogs. So when it hit Huffington Post, when it hit all the political blogs, there's only like 4 of those. 4 million of those. Before it hit it, the apology was already part of it. So you were fielding 1/1000th of the calls. And then she still got interviewed, and they said, so what did you do? He said, well, he's not tweeting for us anymore. Yeah, no kidding. And we have to look at our policy. Really? Where in your policy does it cover this? About not, insulting the dead grandmother of your current president of your country. Where is that is that like section 1B? Not being a fucking moron? Is that what it is? This is not a social media issue. This is a hiring issue. This is a huge difference. And that's the thing, like the product issue with too many bad tweets and this is your people. This is not Twitter's fault. This is hiring somebody in a communications role who is an asshole. That's the problem here, right? That's the issue. And it's not like this was a mistake and we should just move them off Twitter. If you don't trust your employees, they shouldn't work for you. Not tweet for you. That's why I don't buy into the tweet bio that says all opinions are my own. I used to be in HR. I used to write policy. Okay, I used to create the rules for people. I did it as a consultant. I did it as corporate. And the disclaimer line that says all tweets are my own or not my employer's is the most useless and dangerous thing you could ask employees ever to put in their bio because it's not true. If they disclose where they work, they are representing you 24/7 virtually. And secondly, it gives them a false sense of security to say anything they want. And if they said this, do you think their employee, this is from KitchenAid's account, obviously it's a little screwed. But if it said, I'm the Director of Communications for KitchenAid, do you think that would have no effect on the brand? Of course not. It's a dangerous statement, I think a very useless statement that we shouldn't have on there. Okay, almost finished here. This is a tweet to Nenshi. He's the mayor of Calgary, Alberta. He's great on Twitter. He's fantastic on Twitter. You should follow him. This guy tweets to Nenshi, hey Nenshi, what's the point of the ridiculously expensive bridge again? What does it signify? People are pissed up in Alberta because it's a bridge, a lot of money. And he tweets to Nenshi and gets really mad at him, and the mayor tweets back, I think it's to be used across the river. Their faces look like they're talking in real time, too. One guy's screaming, and then she's like, gotcha. It's so good. I love him. He's so good. You got to follow him. He's really good at this stuff. Great tweet from Min's Humor. This morning I gave birth to a food baby, and I think Taco Bell is the father. Taco Bell replies back, I want a DNA test. I don't know where I can go from there. If they can be awesome about this, you can be awesome too. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out. Thank you.